Good morning, Neo DevCon Day 2. Did everyone have a good night last night? Go to the workshops, the after events and stuff? Yeah? Awesome. Well, we have an exciting day today. It's going to be amazing. We've got a lot of demos coming up, a lot of projects being built into the Neo ecosystem, a lot of phenomenal speakers. So I'm looking forward to it. I hope you guys are as well. So let's kick things off. Our first speaker is Piyush Chaplat. He's a partner at Neo Global Capital. And please welcome to the stage, Piyush.
Thanks, man. Thank you. Hello. Good morning, guys. Or should I say, hello, world? Well, whichever way it is, I'm really excited to introduce. Actually, if you were there in the room yesterday about the same time, you would already know about NGC, which is Neo Global Capital. But let me tell you a bit more about it: who we are, what we do, what we are looking for, and how can we all partner together. So. NGC, Neo Global Capital. If you look at the Neo logo, right, it says, just in very small fonts at the bottom, smart economy. And this is exactly in the same manner, I would like to introduce NGC as well. And I would say this is the smart capital for the smart economy. Why do I say smart capital? I mean, in today's world of easy money of ICOs, it's very very easy to forget what you need as a startup founder. You get carried away. I mean, nothing wrong with this concept. I mean, it's a great concept, very powerful, disrupting the venture capital, but it is in very early stages. And I think what we are, there is a small risk that we might, forget the fundamentals, on how to build a company. When you are a startup founder, and I've been one, and I know, how important it is to have that early support, from the partners and the ecosystem. It's a lonely journey. When you are a founder, right? There are many a times when you need help, and if you have investors, who have skin in the game and who can actually support you, there's nothing like that. So this is exactly how the whole idea was conceived, and it's pretty much started from the same place, that how can the entire Neo ecosystem help startups or everyone in the community build up on their ideas, their projects into successful companies. Now, what we want to do is bring all the best practices from the venture capital world and tie them up with the Neo ecosystem, partner with the best talent that is available, and help you in creating your companies. Now, the smart capital, is pretty much, as you can see, is backed, by people with a lot of experience, both on the Neo side as well as in the traditional venture capital and private equity space. I mean, if you look at our team, it has the support from. I think, Tony, do you want to say hello to everybody? Yes, Tony Tao, the Secretary General, for Neo Council, who's willing to provide a lot of support to the companies that are going to come into our portfolio. We have Wayne Zhu, who's the head of investment and research. That's good. We have Roger, who's been a founder himself, and Tony and myself. And if you see, one thing cuts across is that what you get is very strong experience in the traditional space as well as the new blockchain space. All these guys have done a lot of investing, M&A advisory, and the most important thing, which is the investing in the blockchain space. I mean, you can see they've been part of very interesting companies. But what is even more interesting is the kind of pipeline we have. I think that is the power of the NEO ecosystem. I mean, yesterday, I think Hongfei, or Uncle Da, he mentioned that we have an allocation in a startup in ontology. I think he mentioned it is we've got 5% allocation into it. I mean, think of it. If I was in any other venture capital firm, would I be able to get into deals like this? So, if you really want to be part of some really, really interesting deal flow, this is something that we can bring to the table. And by the way, I would also like to mention that this fund is anchored by NEO, but it is also open to other investors. It's a for-profit entity which wants to bring the exact, the strengths of a pure venture capital fund backed by a very strong support from the NEO ecosystem. And you can pretty much see what can be what can happen when you have the entire ecosystem along with you, and it's not just capital. I mean, if you last 1 year, if you followed this space, I think you would pretty much know, how easy it is, to raise money. But right after that, you need everything else, and this is where, we would love to partner with you guys. We would love to help in whichever way we can. Whether you need talent, whether you need support, whether you need market exposure, whether you need to be connected to the other investor communities, everything is available. And what are we looking for? I mean, so far I've talked about what we can do for you, but what are we looking for? I mean, the primary things, and if you see, all this while, we have created a lot of awareness, as a community, as a blockchain community, right? We have created a lot of awareness. There is a lot of interest in the space. But what I think, yesterday there was a speaker, Alex. I don't know if he's in the room, but I think he mentioned that in the next 12 months, if we have to succeed in the blockchain space, and if we don't want to be the 3D printings and those kind of buzzwords anymore, if we have to really succeed and make an impact, we have to translate all these ideas into real companies over the next 12 months. And those are the kind of people who are really looking to create real companies, real ideas, are committed for the long term. I mean, this is, and I stress on this, that if you are in this, to get quick liquidity, we are not for you. If you are looking for real long-term commitment, if you are in this to build the infrastructure of blockchain ecosystem, please contact us. You can reach out to us. I guarantee you we'll respond to each and every message. We'll look through everything absolutely seriously. And whether you want to partner with us, whether you want to be part of our portfolio companies, whether you want to be co-investing along with us, you're all very welcome. Thank you. And I would love to take a few questions if we have time.
What's the minimum investment as an LP?
Sorry, who's that?
What's the limited partner?
Can we talk about it?
Okay.
Sorry, yes, go ahead. No, actually, it's not just that. We are open to, we are a licensed fund manager. We look for, we can take equities into the companies as well. So we are open to the mode of investment. I think mode of investment is not that important. It is more, it's the substance that matters. Sure.
Hi, it's me again. So I'm wondering, what is the main investment criteria you look for in projects that are looking to get funding?
Main investment criteria that we look for?
Yeah, like what is something that a project coming to you will look more appealing for you guys to decide whether you want to fund it or not? Is it a really well thought out white paper? Is it a working model? Is it proving like a certain use case already in the market? How would you sort of prioritize that?
So, I think in any startup investment, right, it's the first and foremost thing is actually the team. I think it's the people behind. So, if the people building it, right, do they really have the strong technical expertise in anything and everything that they are proposing that they will do, right? Whether it is a white paper or whether it's a pitch deck, it's pretty much the same thing. Ultimately, it's the team behind, which is going to deliver, right? So you want to see, first of all, what is the commitment and the passion level of these people? And it's nothing new that I'm saying. I mean, this is the fact, and that is the bottom line. The kind of areas that we are interested is more or less, if you are right now, we are at the stage where we are kind of like building up the infrastructure of the blockchain space. So if you are into, building the what you call the building blocks of the blockchain ecosystem, the infrastructure, we are really, really interested. Thank you.
Hello?
Yeah?
Can you hear me? Okay. What's your firm's approach with valuation, especially for the larger protocols?
Yep. So look, valuation is something that. So I've been an early stage venture investor for the last 10 years. Investing into seed stage companies, and valuation has been something that I still don't know how to do. I'll be honest. So valuation is something that is defined between what a willing buyer and willing seller are doing, willing to do between themselves. Any valuation. I mean, I can be scientific about it. I can give you 20 theories of how to value. I can give you benchmarks. I'm not saying that I'll pull it out of the thin air, but there are always benchmarks. But you got to see what an investor is willing to do and what you are willing to dilute. And in fact, in the ICO case, you're not even diluting anything, right? So, so again, the amount of money that you are raising depends on the value proposition, right? I mean, somebody could be building a very deep technology, even though at early stage, maybe have a very deep expertise in building that. The valuation might be very different than a very light, thin, does it answer your question, or have I confused you further?
No, that's helpful. And just a quick follow-up, like, what are your thoughts on whether the value will accrue to the dApps, the coins of the dApps, versus the underlying protocol?
Sorry, I'm not really sure whether I'm getting the.
So if I created a dApp and I have a token that's used in the dApp, is your long-term view that the value will accrue to that coin, or that the value will accrue to the protocol that's facilitating the dApp?
I mean, I wouldn't say this is either or, right? I think it's both, right? I mean, if you, I think it'll, if both of these things reinforce each other, right? Sure.
Sorry. Two questions. Sorry to take up your time, but
Sure.
what is the most concerning trends that you're seeing with people that are or projects that are applying to your team? And is there? Well, I know like box mining, CryptoBud, and a couple people are in this conference. Do you see YouTube and Steemit influencers being something that you guys would look to support in that sense?
Absolutely, great question. I think I'm not the only guy who would say this, right? I think the biggest question in my mind and the biggest concern in my mind is actually the sustainability of the ecosystem, right? I think we need to get, as a community, right, we need to get our act together and deliver on everything that we have promised the world. I mean, we have created a lot of expectations, I mean, the expectations have kind of like gone way, way ahead. And if we don't deliver in next 12 months, I think we'll have a little bit of issue. So, if you really want to benefit from the community, I think guys get real and start building. Did I miss anything?
The YouTube influencers. Do you guys see yourself investing or supporting some of the influencers on the internet?
I mean, look, yesterday I think if you heard a lot of speakers from the Neo community, you would have heard that we don't talk about as an entity, we talk about as a community, right? And if there are influencers, who are willing to join, contribute, of course, yes, why not? Yeah.
Yeah, I have a lot of questions, but I'll try to summarize
Me too.
just a few. I think one of the first questions that comes to mind when we talk about your particular role in this is, and this is an opinion that I'm looking for, how do you see traditional exit strategies being affected by this new tokenization model?
You ask really tough questions. No, I think it's a concern. I mean, there's a company that I invested personally some time back. It was a payment processing company. I wouldn't name it, but the company's valuation, I was an angel investor. Series C round, the company's valuation was about 25 million. The token value today is 600 million.
Yeah.
So, do you think I would want to today acquire that company at 100 million, or would they sell that company for $1 billion if the company's traditional value was 25 million? So there is a disconnect, and this is exactly what I was trying to say, that our expectations, the expectations out of all these companies, right, because of whatever has happened, have gone way beyond reality.
Yeah.
So either two things could happen, right? One is we totally disappoint. Second thing that I hope for could happen is where we actually start delivering.
Yeah.
What if we deliver the value that we promised? What if these tokens are really, really that valuable? And why do you need an exit then?
Right.
If you have built a successful ecosystem around the tokenization, why do you bother with the exit right at that point in time?
Right. Well, the question, to elaborate a little bit, give a little bit of my way of thinking is, there's a current system in place that allows for a lot of things like acqui-hires as acquisitions, and those become exit points for those initial investors. And what I'm really trying to see is how are we going to jump the rails from that traditional system of, you know, angel and seed investment, and then going on into those acqui-hires, which are a lot of times, those are the building blocks that help create the organization that you're suggesting. And that alludes to my second question, which is probably even more difficult, which is that how in a decentralized world can we bring people together? Because in this room we have an assortment of people, everything from investors to developers to people like myself that play more administrative roles like CEOs. And you're talking about getting our act together, but decentralization by nature is the scattering rather than assembling. So I don't know if you have any insight to that, but I'd love to hear whatever you have to say.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it insight either. These are my ramblings, you know, at the very best. You know, I agree with you. I think see, eventually, right, this has to translate. So look, let's not be too critical about ourselves. What I'm saying is that decentralization has its own benefits. So what if we have the best of both worlds? You know, we latch on to the benefits of decentralization, keeping in mind the benefits of having a very close-knit associates, advisories, the team, the people. And you know, if you look at the city of Zion, right, these guys have created a fantastic community around. You know, there might be people from all over the world contributing to it, right? So there are, you know, there are benefits that you can extract from the decentralization, keeping in the advantages of the traditional system. I mean, if you look at us, right, this is exactly how we are thinking about our fund. And what we are thinking of is, you know, how can we leverage the power of ICOs? I mean, ICOs, everybody says that ICOs are disrupting venture capital, right? But, sorry, I need to be mindful of time. I'll be very quick. You know, you have people say that ICOs are disrupting venture capital, right? But then there are, and it is true to a certain extent, and theoretically it is, you know, possible, and it will eventually happen as well. But what is, you know, true to the traditional venture capital is that you have the strengths. You know, there are strengths in being part of a portfolio. You know, you can get the synergies out of the entire portfolio network. You know, the venture funds can provide much more than capital. So, you know, as a community, what can we do to kind of, you know, it's an ideal scenario, right? I mean, if you can get the benefits of the new economy, keeping in the strengths of the old economy, as best as you can. Does it? I know, I mean, right. Absolutely. How much time do I have? Good? Any other questions, guys? Feel free to reach out to us. We are at the email ID, the website, Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, whatever you like. Thank you very much.